How would you want it up on the podium and I could just step back? Or is it too close?
You want to face this way or face this way? That's what I was saying.
Oh, you want the audience? You want the people?
No, I'm just.
Well, you know what? I get a microphone or whoever. They could actually don't have to stand behind the podium. They can stand off the side.
I'm kind of a podium guy personally, and that's just because I'm like a card guy that's nervous. Yeah, so I like this. Well,
you have a tight grip on that.
Yeah, and I need this like for I don't fall over. I just get nervous.
What do you think? Oh, hey guys. So, what do you think?
If you're a podium person, that's fine. It's your time. Take it.
Are you saying you'd rather not have the podium?
No, I'm saying that if they don't want to see my backside, I could step over to the side. Yeah, that's cool with the microphone.
The other thought too, Joe, and tell me what you think, is if I got one more table and we pulled over here, we could face it towards the stage and get some of the crowd in it.
The only problem with that is there's no power. Like so, this is.
What if I got you an extension cord from there to there?
Yeah,
unless you like this.
Nope, no, we could do that. It's just yeah, we can do that. It's up to you.
You're getting on a tabletop.
We can use that one right there, right? Just use this one.
Which one? Oh, that? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to get an extension cord?
I think we're gonna have. Yeah, I think yeah.
Por la carretera. Era martes en el tiempo del verano, todo el mundo estaba trabajando, sin hacerme enfermo, la playa como todo un paraíso, y el cheque en el bolsillo, las olas y la brisa me inspiran, solo falta su mirada. Era martes en el tiempo del verano, con mi burrito y mi guitarra no pasaba nada. Cuando volví la vi pasar, su vestido acarició mi triste cuerpo, su forma de caminar. Le di la media vuelta, seguirla, me empieza a dar vergüenza, síguela, empieza a dar vergüenza, síguela, me di la media vuelta, síguela, se va, mira, se va.
I was gonna put it in front of the lose the connection. Yeah, yeah.
Island Point? Say here's another power if you want another question.
Okay, cool. Thank you. This is good. Thank you for your help, man.
Joe.
Back out there? Can you hear me back there? Volume higher? How's that? A little better? A little higher? More trouble? More bass? Or, one more test. How's that? Good thumbs up in the back? Somebody? Good? Okay. All right. Good afternoon and welcome all. My name is Ted Porter. Like many here today, I consider Tim to be one of my best friends, if not my best friend. It's obvious, having met and spoken with so many people in the recent time, that whether you've just met Tim or if you've known him for years like me, that upon meeting him, that everyone he knew felt that he had a unique and special way of making him feel everyone was his best friend. Tim was incomparable to others. The Egkan family raised him this way. I was fortunate enough to have him and have me consider him as my brother. Although we are here because of tragic circumstances, we need to now understand and welcome what Tim would want, a true celebration. Tim had unparalleled wit, creativity that left most envious, and always carried an ear-to-ear smile. A contagious laugh, and was undoubtedly the highlight of every party. Undoubtedly. Today should be no different, you guys. The phrase I ask you to remember from this moment throughout the evening and really carry on from that point forward is live like Tim. Today, let's live like Tim and celebrate. Let's spread the love and good vibes that Tim naturally spread amongst others every day without trying. We have several people who are going to speak. The family members of the Eakins are here with us and some good friends at Tim's. Right now, I'd like to invite Tim's father, Jeff Egan, up to the stage and say some words. Hi, can you hear me? I just want to start with some thank yous. I just want to thank everyone for coming out today and helping us with the celebration of Tim's life. It just warms our heart to see so many friends, people we haven't seen in a while, and people that are just been close to friends for 10 through the years. I want to say some specific thank yous to all of our family, especially to our daughter-in-law. I want to thank Katie for loving Tim unconditionally. I want to thank Tim Stockton family. Thank you for just supporting our son for this few years there. I don't think I had a chance to properly thank all of you for all of your help and support these last 2 weeks. But thank you, Zach, and to Megan, and Gianna, and Jasmine, and Garrett. Thank you for putting on just a wonderful celebration of Tim's life in Stockton. To the San Diego family of Tim, these guys that put on this celebration today, you guys are amazing. Ted, Josiah, Palmer. Sorry, I don't know Palmer's first name.
Most don't.
Nickname for everybody.
We don't either.
Josh Skeeter and Josh Ramon. I still don't know where Ramon comes from. And by the way, this Skeeter got this wonderful wooden box here for Tim's last resting place. It's just it's beautiful. There's no words, Josh. To Tim's Australia friends, to his Aussie friends, if you're watching, you're listening, cheers. Thank you for embracing our son and Tim's time in Australia. It was wonderful. Wonderful to meet some of you too. A couple of weeks ago, actually, Tim's last night, Terry and I just happened to be watching a TV program, a late night show, and Vice President Joe Biden was on. He talked about his son and how he felt successful because his son was a better person than him. But Terry and I talked to each other. We looked at each other and said, "How do you go on? How do you go on from losing a child?" And I have to be honest with you, we don't have any answers. We don't have an answer yet. But I think this is how you start. This support and love from Tim's friend is such a good start, and it's going to help carry us through. So I appreciate it so much. So I mean, I have 1,000 Tim stories in 32 years, and I mean, I don't know how I picked this one, but Tim and Katie decided to have a little chicken family and have 4 chickens, and 2 of them were going to be for eggs, and 2 of them were going to be for meat. And it came time to prepare the chickens for the meat birds. That didn't go so well. They tried, and it was kind of a disaster, and so they ended up just having to discard the chickens. So that seemed like a strange story to tell right now, but the reason I think of that story is it's the last time, or one of the very few times I can remember Tim not being successful at something he tried. And if I sat up here and talked about the successes that Tim had, we would be here all night. And most things seem to come easy to Tim in his life. I know to a lot of people. Early on, they certainly did. In school, he was the kind of kid that could not study and still get an A. probably frustrating to his friends. But later in his life, and when Tim found something that he was passionate about and what he wanted to do, no one worked harder. Tim had this laser focus on whatever he did. He studied it, he learned it, he read it, and he mastered it. And that was true of starting an online business at 15. It was also true of learning how to help him to revitalize and redesign commercial buildings at 30. So all those things became Tim. He just threw himself into everything, and his motto became all in. And you'll hear some of his friends, especially people in Stockton that he dealt with, say that was his motto, was all in. And that was Tim. That's how he lived his life. He had such a passion for life. Tim had a lot of friends. There's no doubt. I think one of the reasons why is Tim told us a few years ago we had a family event. And Tim was very good at coming to all of our family events, but this one in particular he pushed back and balked at. He said, I'm not coming. I made plans with my friends. And I said, Tim, those are just friends. This is family we're talking about. And Tim said, well, Dad, you don't understand. My family, my friends are also my family. And that's how he treated his friends. And I think that goes a long way. And every one of Tim's friends here, I think, will probably tell you that it was just no different. And so I want to thank you all again for coming today. And, please just, if nothing else today, just get inspired by Tim's life and help us celebrate. Just share memories and stories about Tim. This is what you want.
Sorry if I wasn't down, but I just wanted to try and say a few words, try and get through a few words here with them. Like my dad said, so many Tim stories. Stand up here and talk about him for all day, all night. He was. We were really close. My sister was really close. The three of us were really inseparable growing up. We were only a few years apart. And Tim was our fearless leader. He really was. And one story that really comes to mind is when Tim was just 7 years old and he wanted to make breakfast in bed for our mom for Mother's Day. And a 7-year-old, so my sister and I are kind of just standing behind him watching. He burnt some toast. He scrambled some eggs, but then he decided he wanted to have bacon. He had to have bacon. He wanted to do it big. He's all in. And so Tim, being resourceful, even at the early stage of his life, he suited up with his catcher's gear from Little League to protect himself from the bacon splashing on him. So my sister and I are standing behind him, like when he has all his catcher's gear on, and just kind of watching him burn some bacon probably, and bring this is a 7-year-old. So that story to me just like Tim, he was always our leader. He was resourceful. He was compassionate. He had to make breakfast in bed. He had to do it on his own. He didn't want to go wake up my dad and get help. So that story really sticks in my mind, along with so many other ones. Tim, he left us so young, but he lived more than most people do their whole life. He really did, and I think about that, and that helps comfort me, and in some way. So let's celebrate Tim's life today.
I'd like to reiterate what my brother Jeff said on behalf of all the Egans and the Hopkins, Katie and her mom and dad came all the way from Manchester to help Katie in her time. It's a difficult time and support the family. It's just truly shows the type of character and the people that we're dealing with here. I received a call 2 weeks ago about 6:15 a.m.
And I'm still to this moment hoping to wake up from the dream that I couldn't believe the message that I was hearing. We've been blessed with just an incredible family, incredible friends, amazing life that was given to us through our upbringing. And we, Jeff and Terry, gave their children. We all hope to give our children. So on behalf of Jeff and Terry, Lauren, Jason, Katie, and her family, we want to extend our thanks to all of you for the part that you played in Tim's life and being here today to help us celebrate. So, sad, tragic, senseless event, but Tim was not about that. Tim was really about great music, cold beer, whiskey that he liked, and interpretive dancing. I don't know what that means, but if any of you have ever seen Tim dance, you know what it means, right? So today, Tim would really, if he were here talking, he'd say a couple of things. And this really, I think, underscores and epitomizes him, the friend, the son, the brother, that we all dream big, and have the passion that will follow the dream. Tim was born with an incredibly inquisitive and bright mind. To illustrate this, at 6 years old, I get a call from him. Now, my family, I'm the black sheep of the Eagles. We moved to Northern California. Everybody else is down here. But he called up and he said, Uncle Gary, guess what I got for my birthday? I'm 6 years old. I said, well, I bet you got some great toys. Did you get some clothes? Yeah. But guess what I got for my birthday? I said, did you get a new baseball glove? Yeah. But guess what I got for my birthday? I said, Tim, what did you get for your birthday? He said, Uncle Gary, I got $18. Whoa, Tim, that's great. He goes, yeah, I want you to tell me what stock to buy. So I said, well, Tim, $18 really nice. I said, why don't you save up $100 and then call me and we'll figure something out. And I figured if he got $18 at age 6, I was probably good for another 3 or 4 years. 3 months later, the phone rings. I pick it up. Hey, Uncle Gary, guess what? I got $100. What should we buy? And that's a true story. That really illustrates the type of mind that Tim had that he was born with. And, he was just, his passion, his commitment, everything he did in life was unique and infectious. And it impacted and touched all of us. If I had to sum up Tim in 4 words, these are my words, but I think they're really relative to who Tim was, his passion. Tim had an amazing passion for life. Tim had a goal to leave every space he inhabited better than what he found it. Tim had compassion. So Tim had compassion for people in need. He had compassion for those who he felt were downtrodden. And for any of you who is a friend who's been touched by Tim, you'll know his generosity was unparalleled. You needed something? Here, take it. I don't need it. I got to do it. Or I can do without. Tim was a visionary. Imagine a 30-year-old kid from San Diego County, California, thinking he could go out to Stockton and change a blighted community into a thriving hub of the metropolitan area that would attract what he was doing on his last day, 20 business entrepreneurs from San Francisco tour the magic they were trying to create in Stockton. Absolutely amazing. The last thing I would say about Tim, 4th thing would be he was committed. You heard the term all in. Since the time he was a little boy, Tim was all in. Tim will forever be missed, will always be loved, and we'll never forget. So as you leave here today, and you take a little piece of these memories with you, please remember that live life like you live life, but keep a little Tim inside you.
My name is Josh Kozakowski, also known to many of you as Steve or Skeeter.
Either. Yes, Steve.
Tim and I met in the fall of 2003. I had just moved to San Diego from Minnesota. I was fortunate enough to land a laid-back job valeting at Rooster Steakhouse in downtown. We had something in common immediately. Tim wanted all of his shifts covered, and I desperately needed money. He knew that when I called, when he called, I would be there to cover him. This trust grew into a friendship that when Tim called, I was always there to lend a hand, help with the business, or stand by him when others were skeptics. He always prevailed. He always, in turn, had my back. I owe so much to him for bringing me into his group of friends, guiding me through my life, and the reason I met Ellie. I'd like to say something in the words of my daughter Lillian, who was very fond of Tim. Right. Who is Tim? Well, from what I know, he was a funny, very nice man, but most importantly, every time I saw him, he was smiling. That is what made him so special. He always knew what to say. He was more than just the guy you see in the morning on the way to work. He was Tim. The guy that was very funny, happy, and joyful. And that is why I love Tim. Tim was more than my friend. He was my brother. And I will forever love him. You hear me back there? Okay. Just wondering. My name is Josiah. Tim and I first met at San Diego State, and you were saying that Tim would be the type of person that wouldn't have to study and get A's. I'd still cheat off and get C's. It's messed up. Yeah, he always said I get glasses, but I don't know. But so it started because he overheard me talking about hip hop, and I had knew some people from Stockton, where I'm originally from. Yes, that's the connection. And we're talking about a photographer friend, and we knew people, and then he jumps in. Yeah, you know those guys? Yeah. You like them? Yeah. Okay, we'll still listen to them. Okay, so we went to his the dorm. Well, I guess he'd be his house where he lived, and an instant connection, an instant bond was made, and it's never ever going to go. And although the situation is that my heart's been broken, he's always going to be a piece of 10 in my heart as a kid. Words can't put you can't put the words together as far as how incredibly smart. I'm serious, he's like a genius. And the passion and the things that we share, we would go out here in San Diego when we lived here, and we go to places and people would point out oh, these guys are coming, and I'm like, oh, you know who these guys are, Tim? It's like, no, don't worry, it's cool. So it's like, I don't know if people know who Columbia is, but I think they're called Columbia. That's how really cutting edge is. But we go out, we have a good time, and always have the connection about things that we were bond on. And it started with music, and it evolved into life. And Steve had said that the friendship was more of a brotherhood, and
I'm not the only person that felt the same way. He's not the only person. It's a big group of people that felt the same way. I knew I was going to speak today, and my Stockton talk, because I was born and raised there, was a lot different, because people always give Stockton a bad rap, and we always had conversations about trying to make it better, and I always was pushing, encouraging them to do it. And then going back home and visiting, like I want to say I'm amazed, but I was not surprised on the significance and impact that my good friend and brother Tim had on other people's lives, to create, to touch someone else and make them believe that they couldn't do something that maybe someone else said that they try to oppress them. Tim would get just a little bit of light and shine it like LED. And that's the type of person that he was and always will be. And I think you can get strength and move forward by living your life and doing the same, putting the same energy as you did. And he wasn't scared of nothing. He was fearless. And so I think in each and every way, each of us, even though all the mates up in Australia, I'm looking at the computer over there, so I think those guys are definitely not Australian. But they know that. And so I just want to say that we are going to miss them, but we do have to make sure that we move forward, love each other, like he loved his family so much. And that's the thing that was the biggest connection as far as us always talking about our family. And he did a lot to help my family. So that's basically it. And please enjoy yourself. Tell people that you love them. Encourage people to make them better. And that's exactly what the legacy team left. So please move forward with that. Thank you.
All right, wrap up. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, thank you all for being here. Celebrate Tim. As we all know, he would want us to be here, not just to mourn, but also to remember all the great memories that we've shared. My name's Matt Palmer. Tim and I met our freshman year of college. We were both joined the Simplified fraternity. All of my brothers are here. We shared a lot of common interests and quickly became the best of friends. Those first years of college were an exciting time for us as we were developing into young adults. Tim was a great friend to have. He was always active and interested in doing just about anything. We skateboarded down enormous hills. We had season passes to Big Bear every year. Surfing trips down to Mexico. I'll never forget the great time we had in Europe, or the many trips to Vegas with our fraternity brothers. What a rush. I'm sure many of you know, Tim also loved music and art, and always wanted to share a new favorite song, or he'd say, come on, let's go buy tickets, and we'd go see Living Legends, or Santana, or we saw James Brown. And I mean, some of these memories you just cherish. And so we all have so many memories like these with Tim. I started compiling a list this last week of just some key words that kind of brought back those days to me. So I just wanted to run through a few of them. You guys, there's a lot of people out there. If you hear something that rings out to you, raise your ear, or maybe give me a thumbs up or something like that. So, part of the little bro program, Simikai Reggae Fest, trip to Switzerland, Prague, snowboarding into the mountain, Egan Headlock, Simikai Food Share, Ruth Chris Ballet, Mission Beach Boardwalk Party, Push to the Bloodfire Angels, Knit, Discussing Politics, Sushi Oda, Corvallis, Ocean Air, Polaris Rides, Pool Games, Tacos, Jägermeister, Sierra Nevadas, Jason's High School Parties, Bakersfield, Claremont 2 years. When we all went and saw the Jackass movie. Skating downtown. I thought motivation, ambition, invincible, and skinny jeans. And Skeeter strikes party. We had the greatest times together, but there's also a lot more to our friendship. Tim was like an older brother to me as well, and someone that I looked up to. He was there to listen if I was having a rough day or issues with Brianna. And the guy was so smart and witty that he could read practically your mind and finish your sentences. He cared for all of our friends and would do anything he could if you were down and out. And he was extremely generous. One of my favorite stories is how we'd be walking down a hallway in a hotel in Vegas or anywhere, and I'd glance back and see him slipping money in the lady's cards. He didn't want the recognition. He would just hide it in a little spot and wait for something or she'd find it. And that had a big impact on me. And it showed me that he had a big heart, and that also he came from a great upbringing. So I end this with, thank you, buddy, for always being there for me, encouraging us, motivating us, teaching us how to live life to the fullest. Now, having you here to be my life coach is so unexpected and devastating. You're my best friend. I love you as a brother. So cheers to one of the great ones that we're all so fortunate to know. I'm kind of the kind of guy that needs cards. You guys all make me real quick, I was just kind of standing and I wanted to explain this photo. I was in Australia about a year and a half ago with some friends and then family. Tim and I got in a van, traveled for about 8 days down the Gold Coast and surfed and got all stinky and all the good times. But I noticed every evening he would disappear for about like an hour. And Tim always used to give me shit. Sorry. Give me stuff because I was like always the guy that naturally like would call and love and stuff. That was never Tim. And I started asking, what's going on? You're disappearing every evening. And so this particular night, he was gone for like 2.5 hours. So I tracked him down, and I was by myself drinking. So I tracked him down, and he was on the phone once again, and he was on the phone with his wife, Katie. At the time, they were not married. I had actually not met Katie at the time. But I had never seen Tim respond that way to a woman ever. I instantly knew that was someone really special. And once I met her, that solidified that. I just felt like I needed to share that because Katie, we absolutely love you. I think that's overwhelming. I'm not saying that. You want me to know that, but we're always here for you. All right, back to the cards. So Tim, Travis Moore, and myself, we all met when we were about like 10 years old at St. Patrick's. We all had gone to school in different locations. We kind of like all met up just randomly in 5th grade. We were like the new kids on block, more or less, and we had a whole bunch of relationships to establish with people. Tim early on, without a doubt, became a stand-up figure within our class and soon to school. He had an overwhelming sense of like fearlessness early on. It was just very present. And he was always also the one that was like the first one to skin his knees in the life. And undoubtedly, he'd be the one that would try something for Travis and I. And like I said, he might skid his knees. But for the reason that, I would always look at why he was that way. It's the fact that Tim was just curious about what life had to offer. Undoubtedly, we all can say that Tim had an intellectual curiosity for things. Tim did not like not knowing things, not just in studies. He just didn't like knowing. He didn't like the unknown. And it was the unknown that made him pursue things. And that leads into the story that I wanted to tell you, which was when we were young, a little older now, we were probably 12. Tim always had a desire and love for speed going down hills. Palmer alluded to it with skateboards. We were in summertime, probably
probably like 12 years old, and we somehow found a Easy Rider wagon. You know, those ones that like 3-year-olds get pulled around in by a family member. And Tim looked at me and said, I bet we could take that down that hill. There was a house over by my house growing up. And it's what I would describe as like the mammoth of mountains. It was a gigantic hill. So Tim persuaded me to get this Easy Rider wagon with him. And Tim was at the wheel, but there is no wheel, it's a handle. And so he says, yeah, let's bomb this hill. And so, you know, traffic, whatever, not a consideration. So I'm behind Tim, we're going down. The whole initial goal was just to see how far we could go for Tim. Let's see how far we could go. Well, we made it all the way down to the bottom of the hill and T-boned into a curve and flew into these bushes like 20 feet. And we survived. No one got injured or anything. We laughed about it. And I was kind of like scared. And Tim looks up with Tim Egan before his face, like still curious and like inquisitively challenging you, and said, I think if we turn a little sharper, we can make that turn. And I was Tim. He just always had that look. You knew when you saw that look at Tim that you better be prepared to get challenged. Because he was always looking to pursue what that curiosity would develop into. Tim was a friend that you not only would just call as a friend. Tim was the kind of friend that specialized in so many things. Tim was the friend that helped me install a chicken coop in my backyard. That when my chicken got sick, and a year and a half later, I pick up the phone and call Tim and say, Tim, what's going on with my chicken? He's the kind of guy that if you had a question about booking a trip, you don't Google it, call Tim. Because undoubtedly he's got friends in Australia who we're streaming to right now that would take you in like family. I mean that anywhere. Tahoe, a bunch of places. He made such an impression on people everywhere he went that he always was welcome in places that he had traveled. This next part looks like if you're rolling on succession. He not only had a mustache that I always was envious of, but he possessed style that hadn't been created yet. Tim was a trendsetter. He traveled often. He lived in many different locations and studied many cultures. Tim was cultured. He studied and learned at SDSU. He was invested in learning and was very well read. Tim was educated. He surfed, he snowboarded, he skateboarded, and was successful and would challenge you in almost any sport and succeed. Tim was a gifted athlete. He was always the life of a party. Rooms would focus on him as he would tell a joke or surf on top of a table that Skeeter just put together in the office. Tim was the definition of laughter and fun. Tim was the party. He looked forward to seeing his grandparents, parents, brother, sister, nephews, and he absolutely loved his wife. Tim was a family man. He was creative. He brought new waves of thought and provoked positive changes in others. Tim was a leader. He was successful in business, merging the two worlds of helping people while building business. Tim was a businessman. He volunteered and focused on giving to others. Tim was a humanitarian. I realize this all sounds kind of familiar to a lot of you. You probably all experienced these similar qualities and traits in Tim. I'm not sure if you're aware there's also a commercial that represents Tim. It says, Dos Equis took it. The most interesting man in the world. Thank you for making that connection. Undoubtedly, he was the most interesting man in the world. And I think that's what we're getting at with all these things that these guys are saying. In the last year alone, I haven't verified, but I was told by a reliable source, he told his wife, Katie, in bed, seriously, in Tim Egan fashion, I want to write a musical. Now, we all know Tim does not know anything about musicals. But we all also know that in true Tim Egan fashion, Tim would study it, figure it out, and put on the best musical there is. Shortly after, I'm talking to Jason the other night. He says, He was speaking with his grandpa, or Tata, who was up here in the front row with us, as Tata is what Tim called his grandpa. He said, Tata, I know you're really into horse racing. Tata has a love for horse racing and the Delmar track. He says, Tata, next year I'm going to go buy a horse and we're going to go to Delmar racetrack and start racing. Tim truly was the most interesting man in the world. They just did not have him audition for that commercial. Moving forward, I ask that you find Tim in your day-to-day life. We tried to put together some things in the room, and we've had a tremendous amount of help from friends and family, and Egans did a tremendous job in supporting and putting this day together. We put some things together in the room, and the purpose of those things in the room is we really hope that you guys find Tim in day-to-day travels and events. And it's going to be different for everyone. There's a song undoubtedly that Tim loved that you were with when you saw him, like Palmer talked about. Or there's that Mexican food restaurant that you guys used to get late night food at. Or that stock offering of $18 that he did with his uncle. But undoubtedly there's something that we can all remember Tim in and laugh about. But like Josiah said, let's move forward with love. And ultimately, let's live like Tim, guys. So with that, we're going to conclude the ceremony for the afternoon. And we're going to move on to the next part, which is truly celebrating Tim. We encourage as much storytelling and sharing and love amongst others as we can, because Tim would not want this to be a sad day. Tim would want this to be a really positive day and to project love upon one another. So we'll go ahead and make our way over and let's have some fun, guys, because that's what Tim would want.
Yeah. Hey.
You're not a public speaker.
What is it? You guys forced me away from the cards. For stuffing on my dick.
That was awful. I really appreciate it. I mean, seriously, that was marvelous.
I think we better run.
Oh, wow.
So you come up with Skeeter.
Oh, man. Thanks, guys. Yeah, this is cool. This is awesome. Yeah, it's a great. We're on the same boat, right? Yeah, you know. I was talking to Mike earlier. He's doing it. He's having
How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Take a right surf a little bit.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Hey. All right.
Good to see you.
This is Corey.
Corey, nice to meet you. Josh, pleasure to meet you. Pleasure. I felt like you. I thought you looked familiar. I saw you.
Me?
Guy.
Oh, him.
I knew you. I didn't see you.
So you did the big show?
Yeah, I donated it. It was on my waist.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I think we do that like every year. Try to
Yeah?
It grows so fast. It grows like really like.
You must be healthy.
That's the gift I was giving the world.
It's hair. Good. All right, I'll see you in 2
Yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Say hi to my mom.
All right, let's get drunk.
Anar,
we have to have it be good today. Whoever's there, hi there. If it's recording or not.
Zach. It's been a while. Guys, Jan. Hi. First song.
Hi. Hi, babe.
Come on. Ready to
Of course.
Just
For a little while. Everybody's nice and sweaty.
Yeah, here somewhere. It's not BO yet. Hey, how are you?
How you doing?
Oh, it's good to see you. Looking good.
No,
Sorry,
I'm sure
under these
I know the circumstances.
Yeah.
Say hi to Mom. Yeah, I know. We got to do this different ways.
I know.
Yeah, everyone talks. We talk. Everyone did the little.
Well, don't worry, you're on video, so.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, we don't have video right now. Forgot about that.
Expect to be arrested soon. Beautiful, beautiful thunder.
Yeah, it's been great weather.
Yeah, so I'm trying to I'm going to. I'll just keep it.
You cut a little more because you're wired. I'm gonna keep going there.
Yeah, when you see
Just leave the door open.
Yeah.
Did he? Did he? Oh, he did. Do you think if we unplugged it? Well, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how.
Did you get a room?
Because like, so there's no, it's not technically, there's no data going through it.
Yeah.
Like, it might cough or something. You cough and then restart it, right?
What's that?
Let's just unplug that. Let's take this one. Well, maybe I'm gonna. Well, I just. I guess if I'm gonna use the juice, like I'll walk past that. Because I never checked the front. Yeah, the blue one. Where's bro? I toned it down, man. Like the one is dude, seriously, the one is not good. For real, dude.
My girlfriend's have a cabin not far from here.
But that's just
So I spent a year and a half there. Just go online and have it there with my dog. Doing around.
Yeah, sounds good.
We don't have to just to visit.
There's a band out here. It's called
Yeah?
Yeah, man, it's like sick. Super sick.
Played in the band for 10 years.
Let's go next door.
Spanish, English.
Trying to
Are we going with you?
find my way back to there.
Yeah, dude. It's
Yeah, you
yeah.
can.
It's a nice place to rent to.
So, oh, I gotta move this. I'm all kidding. Hey, man, who is gonna play? Oh, yeah, he's like looking right now.
Yeah. It took some time.
Jordan.
This is my other
Nice
half.
to meet you.
Josh is the one that made all of our furniture and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Jasmine. Nice to meet my friend.
Official.
Yeah, I'm Huddle. Huddle.
She's
Huddle.
officially Huddle. She's taking over all Huddle.
This is my boyfriend,
Jordan.
Jordan.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we took it slowing down.
So there will be some alcoholic beverages, music. Hold it up. Yeah. 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 Well,
Well, I mean, you can swim in it. It's not.
yeah, it's always good.
Oh, really? Yeah, so Really?
Surprise? Oh, you guys like
Yeah.
let me know.
Jordan.
Yeah. We'll probably be when it's done. I'll go over there. Okay. We're so good to I remember doing that. When did you go up or down?
More pay on Friday.
Good? Sure?
So how far are you?
Sure? Okay. Well, hopefully you can stick around. It's kind of weird. If you haven't been in here yet, have you? You need to go. You won't. You are just curious.
October 24th. Okay. Yeah. You know where we're going to be? It's over here on the walk around. Yeah.
You guys have a decent drive down?
Hey, look, this is where you can say hello.
I feel like I'm not in my cross country.
It's humid. Yeah, what was up with that? Was that a concert? Yeah. Did you drive straight here?
No, we stopped in North College.
We stayed in Morro Bay. And then we stayed in San Juan. Yes. Yeah, we had. Yeah. By yourself? Oh, okay. Cool. You don't like birds, I don't like to eat.
You don't like it?
I hate it. I hate it. When you are out 5 days a week for 6 hours in direct sunlight.
So it's Jackie Jill started Kevin Jill.
Let's go shrimp on the Barbie.
Yeah, miserable work. So.
He was getting really into it when we were in France. He was like, show me his new camera. He's like,
Yeah, well, that's quite
So interesting. Ayana.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
My brother.
Let's get a close one in on that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's you, buddy.
Skeet and Eldy. With the pretty flasks.